Looking at the crypto market, are you concerned about the price of XRP? Do you still worry about when this asset can really go higher? Then this video is all you need. Right now, we'll try breaking things down in technicals and fundamentals, because the fundamentals right now shows a lot. If you actually focus on what's happening, yes, the new supply entered into the market, but that went back into the escrow. That's positive. If you look at the activity of whales, that is positive. You're actually watching huge amount of XRP moving from exchanges. It's not coming into exchange, it's moving out of exchange, which shows you the fact that these guys are gonna hold. That means price can go up. But there's a catch on it. We're going to break that down. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, opportunities are everywhere. We're going to break things down. Before that, if you hit that like button, I'll be really happy. And if you have any doubts, any questions, drop me in the comment section below. So now, if you actually look at the price action, when you zoom in, this is what we are watching. It's actually trying to bounce off, but this level of resistance is kind of a little bit strong. We're not breaking that to the upside. But we need to actually keep this in mind. This is the daily structure. We talked about this in the last video. So if we come back down to test this support range before we bounce off, don't be worried. So if you are looking at the price action, this trend line is important for you. Getting a bounce for the XRP price somewhere close to this range will give you some momentum. And that's what we are waiting for. But on the other end, Bitcoin movement does manipulate the market. If you look at Bitcoin, it is showing you this trend line. We may actually come back down to that trend line and bounce off. That still is great because we do have the divergence forming here. So if we actually bounce off, we do have resistance, which is, not that high. Somewhere close to 27,500, you will see resistance coming into the picture. But if we do get that bounce, it's not the macro bullish scenario we're talking about. We're going to go higher to test this resistance because we had this trend line running all the way down from $15,000 Bitcoin, touching somewhere close to 20,000 Bitcoin, all the way up to 25,000 Bitcoin. And now we are below that. We're not above that. We are below that. That is one of the primary reasons why you have to keep this in mind. As I was discussing in the group, we are watching this, right? As the Bitcoin dominance breaks lower, you will watch some of these altcoins running higher. You will watch some of these getting volume. And you need to make sure that's not a fake out. You need to make sure that's not a bluff. If you do, then you have a lot of opportunities coming your way inside this market. Now, you don't have to actually go into the 500, 600, 700 range where there is literally no volume to trade by. Whereas if you look for something in between 300, 400, or at least 100 to 350, 400 range, you can still get assets with decent liquidity on a daily. We've talked about Dodo from a couple of weeks. Look at this, it's up 17% instead. Now, some may actually think, why am I not talking about this or this, right? The price action does matter. Right now, it shows you 1 day 60% up and the entire week 68% up. Whereas the Dodo is kind of like, it's still negative in that sense. On a weekly, you have upside. The opportunity still exists. So if you are interested in that kind of narrative, looking at the breakout possibility, the target, and all the rest, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. Now, jumping back. If you actually look at the recent news, the narrative, the market, Visa just partnered with Solana. Now, you can take it in different ways. So you can either say, okay, they actually partnered with USDC using Solana. So USDC as a stable coin and crypto as an ecosystem is getting more adoption. But the choice which a network like Visa just made, If you remember last time when the market was running hot, there was a lot of network activity. Solana network dropped dead. How many times, right? I'm like, you literally had to push in all those CPR and then push the network back into life. So I'm like, okay, if Visa with such a high throughput is going into such a network, let's see if they learn something from last time. But here we still have MasterCard. But we're not actually talking about MasterCard completely joining with Ripple and all. They are partnering in different way. They are working together in different projects. All that's true. But price of XRP is different from that. Right now, it's all about the retracement. We're watching this playing out here. And as it plays out, remember, that's a short-term range. And if you put that into the Wyckoff perspective, I would argue that you went up. That was a blast off with the news for sure. Then you came back down to retest this range. Now, you did that range of retest with a long wick, and you're trying to do an accumulation range. Last time, these ranges were really slow and small and wide. But if you actually break it down, you did get that kind of a range before which you took off. And before that, if you go back, you'll again see market dropping slowly and consolidating in one area. And as soon as it breaks to the upside, things change. You go back up. So right now, here we are. We're waiting to see the price come back to test 0.55. First range and then break above that. If you do see the price breaking above that in this week or next, that means, yeah, that's good. We are actually heading higher. Now, independent assets and correlated assets are different. So if you really want to look at correlated assets, what you have to do is say, which are the highly correlated assets for XRP Ledger or XRP as an asset? I would actually say, okay, I'll go with XLM in that perspective. XLM is already showing you that it is respecting this range. And that's a great retest. So that's actually a huge thing. And it's trying to bounce off, test the moving average and all, which is cool. Because when you zoom out, you're watching on a weekly, you wicked lower to that range a couple of times. You're now trying to push back to the upside, which for me means either this week or the next week, we are going to start moving higher. Maybe in 3-4 weeks, we will be putting in a new local high. And right now, seeing that may not actually look a lot attractive. But keep in mind, you'll actually watch this happening. Why? Because they bought in, then they are moving out. Remember, back in August, when you actually got a lot of trading volume, what was it all about? The price didn't go higher. The price went higher in July. So if you are having that doubt, it's just erasing the FOMO. The whales, they really don't want a lot of people to make money easily. So when we had such a breakthrough to the upside, there was a lot of market attention which came in with it. You just watch like XRP records highest average daily trading volume in all the altcoins. And in a few days, it was way higher than that of Bitcoin and Ether. So that's like, whales don't like that for sure. And now you're coming in here. And for me, I'm like, okay, they're pushing the price lower as much as possible, trying to push retail out. Now you're at a support. You're watching the momentum to the downside is reducing. So with that being said, you slowly go on to a daily chart. You want to actually see whether the weekly and daily kind of coordinates themselves. Because yes, you are making a double bottom pattern. Here you haven't actually broken down through that. But you haven't actually put in a higher high or a higher low. That kind of structure is going to be important here. On a micro level, yes, we are watching this. We are actually watching, okay, we may actually get a bounce close towards 0.52. Now, those movements may not be huge at this level. But what we all should keep in mind when that happens is the monthly chart. Because you need to understand, when you're trying to read through that para of this price action, you need to understand where we are. You need to understand which direction we are going, or at least which direction we came from and where we are. This kind of gives you the ability to look backward and to the present and say, okay, most likely this is the trajectory. And what I meant by that is I strongly believe that this market bluff is something similar to what we have seen last time with the SEC issue. That means you do see another 10, 20, 30x run up in XRP. What does that mean? If your average is at 0.3, you are going to watch double that in your portfolio, right? If your average is 0.4, you'll watch something bigger than that. But if your average is higher than this, say 0.6, 0.7, now the market actually gave you an opportunity to average down. That's a different story, because if you ended up buying with this FOMO here on 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and your average is much higher than the current price, you have an opportunity to average down. Because if you don't, and the price goes up, your profit is not based on the price. It is also tied in directly with your cost basis. You need to actually keep that in mind. If you want to see 10x in your portfolio, it depends on where you bought it. If you bought at 0.4, by $4.4, you are at that position. But if you bought that at 0.8, now you need much higher price action. You're watching $8.8. So wait, now at this time, it would look easy to average down. Compare to the price action from $4 to $8, that's a massive change. Whereas 0.4 to 0.8 may not look that big. So now let's zoom in. I'll actually go back into a daily chart looking at what the indicators are suggesting us. MACD is trying to cross back to the upside. So we want to see whether the daily and weekly agrees, because the weekly is already crossing to the downside. And when the price is trending higher and the MACD is crossing to the downside, we want to see scenarios where that has happened. So back in here, you'll watch the prices trending higher. There is no doubt in that, right? You can actually put it through. You'll actually see the price putting in higher highs, higher lows, that structure, which is cool, healthy, great. Now, during that time, whenever we watched the MACD crossing to the downside, let's actually enlarge that a little bit and talk about that. Whenever you get that kind of a move, that usually showed you the market has hit a bottom. So it's not once, all these times the market has done that. So these kind of bluff in the market creates macro opportunity for a lot of guys to buy in if you missed that move. When you trend lower, it's different. Cross to the downside means run for your life. That's something you should understand. And the vice versa is also true. When you're trending to the downside and you get an upside cross, what happens? You put in a local top. So this plays out in both directions. So my question for you would be, what do you think we are doing right now? Are we trending lower or are we trending higher? Basic question is about the price structure. Are you putting in higher high, higher low? If so, then this shows you most likely we have already done the bottom and we are looking for a reversal to the upside. Now, as we go higher, we will watch the price getting resisted. A lot of people are stuck here in this range around $1.5 to $2. A lot of people are stuck around $3.8, say 3.5 to 3.8, and that's been a long time. So when the price go back to that range, you will watch people taking profits. And remember, the price stayed near 0.3 for a long period of time, allowing a lot of people to average down in this area. That means when the price is at $3.3, $3.6, there's a lot of people who are 10x by that time. They will take some profits. When the price goes up, when it is at $6, when it's at $9, $10, you will watch a lot of people with hundreds of thousands of units of XRP, if not millions, taking 5, 10, 20, 30% out, and the market will get more volume. What people don't understand right now is the actual sense of price to the asset ratio. Now, if you want to buy 100 XRP, how much does it actually cost you? Think about that for a moment. Price is 0.5. And when you sell that 100 units of XRP at the price of $5, how much should the other guy bring in to buy that $100? So when the price goes up, people who come in new are able to buy a less quantity. Even though the demand for that asset is high, the quantity demanded will be much lower. So you need to make sure as you go up, you take profit, you skim profits. So jumping back to the actual concern of if you are thinking that this asset is not going higher, let me make this clear that I personally strongly believe that this asset is actually preparing for something. If not, we would not trend about such a trend line from a long period of time. If we actually break this down into two different ways, let me take XRP here too and give you guys the right thought process. Here, it's going to be on a daily. Now, this is going to be really important. There's a daily chart and you are slowly trending higher. Great. Now, when you do that, keep this in mind. When you do that, you actually have first run where you consolidate, run up, then do the fake out, come back down to test this range, the exact range again, and you started moving higher. That's on a daily. Now come on for the same asset on a macro chart. We'll remove all this, keep the idea in your mind because the idea is still the same because the price action is doing still the same thing. You watch the price action going up and then coming back down, consolidating here and starting to move up. So if that's in this sense, I would think like, okay, that's huge. That means you are right now somewhere close to this point. You came back down and you're just starting this move. Now I would assume that the price is going to do this here on a macro. That means it doesn't look like this. That's on a daily. The macro will look like this. You're going parabolic. You spend some time above that average. You spend some time below that average. Next one most likely is going to be above that average. That's where you should think. Because if it's doing that range, $8, $10, $15, wherever we go with that parabolic move and FOMO in the market, think about how much units you have, how long you're going to hold on to this asset, and what portion of that you will be taking out in this run up. Because you will see, now, most of you guys will have different assets, XRP, XLM, XDC, and a lot of different assets for sure. So you need to actually understand like what's your actual demand for money. Are you going to take everything out of XRP? Or are you going to think, okay, I'm going to distribute my requirement. If I have X amount for the next 3 years, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy, which means when the price action actually plays out all this bullshit on the other side with the market cycle, you are waiting outside. And if you can actually take that out from XRP, XLM, XDC all over from your portfolio, that gives you much higher holding period. That means you can hold on to this asset class for an extended period of time. When they do their part in adoption, the cycle, the hype, everything will come in the way. For sure, you need to have this idea. Because if not, you'll go into the market and the market will always show you hyping. The price is going to 10,000. The price is going to 100,000. Okay, when? No one knows, right? We all try to answer that question, but market makes all of us wrong. That's the hard part of the market. The market cycles always play its part. What you have to keep in mind, which is the easiest part, is to understand that the market cycle, it always does something like this. Whether that's on a micro chart, whether that's on a macro chart, you will see the price going up, coming back down, consolidating, getting reaccumulated, and then popping back off. It starts like that. Before the macro pop starts, what's common is this disbelief, the first run up. Think about this. You're putting in lower lows, lower highs, and at one point you put in a higher high, higher low. But people will believe, nah, this is going to go back down. It's a sucker's rally. It's not going to go higher. Now come back into XRP. Now come back into XLM and a lot of different assets and say, do you really see this happening? So for me, this drop from the disbelief rally is giving you the idea that the next rally of hope is coming soon. And at that point, people will think, okay, I have some hope. I'm going to make some money. And as the price goes higher, there will be thrill, euphoria, FOMO, all of that. And then you should take profit, because if not, the market cycle will repeat for itself and wash off your profits just watching you go from 100K to 1 million, 2 million, and then all the way back down. You don't want that to happen. Instead, as it goes up, take your profit, seize your profit. So guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you are watching for opportunities in the market, look for this link in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.